There are over 13 companies owned by nominees operated by Mr. Adil Kawaja on behalf of President William Ruto. These companies are housed in Karen, at a location I know. They work in the back end of Safaricom, digital payment. This money goes to President Ruto through his chief digital theft agent, Adil Kawaja. We forget in Russia. This is sad. And according to me, this was not just fire. This was planned and well executed. In Kenya, is there some people above the law? Is the law meant for the poor? As they say, the might is right. In Kenya, the might is still right. In Kenya, we are still being deceived that everybody is below the law, while some people act as if they're above the law. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are talking about where does your money go? And today I want to disclose to you why Adil Kawaja, who is the current chair of Safaricom, is unfit to chair Safaricom. So who is Adil Kawaja? Adil Kawaja is President William Ruto's personal lawyer, whom Ruto has used over the years to make deals that made him wealthy enough to buy the presidency. Immediately Ruto became president, he replaced John Ngumi with Adil Kawaja as chairman of the board of Safaricom. This was to set stage for President Ruto's digital fraud strategy of making billions of shillings from suffering Kenyans, which has also announced the decay of telecom giant Safaricom. When President Ruto took over, Safaricom shares was trading at something between 43 to 45 shillings a share. Now the shares have submerged to between 12 shillings or 13 shillings thereabout. Early last year, I revealed how e-Citizen was taken over by President Ruto in order to generate for him enough money for bribing MPs to pass bills and budgets that allows to legalize theft of public funds. When you hear about budgeted corruption, they are passed in parliament using bribery money funded by e-Citizen given to Kimani Chungwa, who is the one who distributes this money. And that's why I say that it has become easier to steal money using a pen, using a suit, using a Bible, than using a gun. So apart from e-Citizen portal, Safaricom also gives government money from its digital transactions. There are over 13 companies owned by nominees operated by Mr. Adil Kawaja on behalf of President William Ruto. These companies are housed in Karen, at a location I know. They work in the back end of Safaricom, digital payment. This money goes to President Ruto through his chief digital theft agent, Adil Kawaja. He can see them in the dashboard, how much money has come today and how much it will come tomorrow. Let me tell you that e-Citizen generates an average of 973 million shillings per day from about 31 million Kenyans who are the subscribers. Now for one to pay hospital bills in government hospitals like Kenyatta National Hospital, one has to part with 50 shillings per transaction, which goes into making Ruto and his cronies rich. Recently, I went to Kenyatta National Hospital to pay a bill at the pharmacy. To my surprise, as per the receipt, I was to pay 1,270, but I was asked to pay 1,350 so that the rest of the money goes as digital charges going into the digital theft of President William Ruto's dashboard of e-citizen. This is the same when you pay for your passports, when you pay for your national IDs, when you pay to enter any national park, when you want to go and see animals, among others. And remember that e-citizen has over 5,000 government services on e-citizen. And each of them, there's a transaction fee, and that fee, that 50 shillings, goes to William Ruto and his 13 companies that operate in Karen. But the problem with Mr. Adil Kawaja does not end with e-citizen. It goes into other digital payments like SHIF. SHIF has been declared unconstitutional by High Court and therefore should not be implemented. But due to conflict of interest in Adil Kawaja, who is the chairman of Safaricom board, Safaricom-led consortium has been awarded a tender of 104 billion shillings to offer technological platform for transition from NHIF to SHIF. Most of this money will be used to provide 70,000 tablets, 5,000 laptops, technology platform, and internet connectivity. The question is, don't NHIF have any laptop and tablet? Have they been operating without any? And where are they going? What about the technology that was procured to run NHIF? Is it technically obsolete? Can it be upgraded instead of spending 104 billion shillings when Kenyans are dying of hunger, when Kenyans cannot afford healthcare, when Kenyans cannot afford education? The most painful truth is that NHIF was set up for less than 1 billion shillings by President Mwai Kibaki. President Ruto wants to spend 104 billion shillings for the same. Have costs gone up by that number? Adil Kawaja is the director of NMC Fertility Kenya. That is part of the complex web of Jayesh Saini's healthcare companies that are taking over Kenyan healthcare system. He is also the director at Bliss Healthcare. It is the same Mr. Adil Kawaja that planned President Ruto's visit to India on 4th of December 2023, where he was received by the fertilizer and chemicals minister, who is Adani's business ally. Remember, Adani in India is the worst thug, according to the Indian Times. And it could not be difficult for the worst thug in Kenya to meet the worst thug in India and come out with the Adani deal. It is also the same Mr. Adil Kawaja that arranged the meeting between President Ruto and Adani in India, where the takeover of the Kenyan ports, airports, and energy sector was discovered. The other deal which was on the table was fertilizer manufacturing deal, which President Ruto is setting up in Kenya to enable him to be the single largest supplier of fertilizer to farmers in Kenya. And that's why the president is obsessed with fertilizer subsidies. He'll be writing a check to himself from the government exchequer to his own company. We cannot forget about gas and gas cylinders manufacturing plant through a company called Surge Energy, which President William Ruto is setting up in Kisaju. We have evidence how the law firm Denton, owned by Safaricom chair, domiciled in UAE, used proxies within the law firm to create nominee companies. President Ruto's ultimate aim is not only to get his 2 terms as president, not even only to become the richest man in the world after his presidency, but President William Ruto and Adil Kawaja wants to be the people who own Kenya. They want to own the whole country. And they want to take over business from all sectors of the economy. That's why President William Ruto met and told all fertilizer manufacturers in Kenya to give him 30% shares in their companies. If not, they'll not get the government contract to supply fertilizer to farmers. So as a governance expert, it is therefore my plea to Safaricom PLC to ensure they remove Mr. Adil Kawaja as director and chair of Safaricom, since due to conflict of interest, he is not fit to be a director and chair of the board of a publicly listed company in Kenya according to Mwongozo Act. His conduct goes against principles of good corporate governance. I want to urge all the shareholders of Safaricom to demand accountability within 1 week. If not, they should consider selling off their shares before it gets worse. Some of the shareholders bought shares when they were trading at 42 shillings, but as of yesterday, that is Wednesday, 26th September, they were trading at 15 shillings. With Safaricom being forced to invest over 104 billion shillings on SHIF, your money is not safe when William Ruto's lawyer remains the chairman of the board of Safaricom. We have been told that Kenya is made up of two tribes, the rich and the poor. I'm not buying that. This is not true anymore. Kenyans are not poor. How can we be poor with a budget of 4.2 trillion shillings? Kenyans are highly educated, highly knowledgeable, hardworking, very industrious, creative, and visionary. How can such a people be poor? Kwangu mimi tuko na tribe mbili, wenye wanatuibia na sisi wenye wanaibiwa. Wakenya tuungane pamoja, wenye wanaibiwa. Tuondoe wenye wanatuibia na shida zetu zote zitaisha. Yesterday I watched a funeral service of 21 young promising lives that perished at Endarasha. Politicians arrived there with fuel guzzlers. The deputy president was escorted with 30 vehicles. Yet these people are asking for just money even to do investigation. No one has even gone to court to seek justice for them. And what is hurting to me, there's something I saw that touches me. I saw 21 hearses. In my life, this is rarely a scene you can watch. 21 coffins. 21 precious lives lost. 21 bright stars dimmed forever. But even after that, I've never seen any arrests. I've not seen any single resignation. No accountability. No justice. Pretty, I saw people sit at Mwega, Nyeri. Petty politics being said. Pretending all is well. Planning nothing. PR was perfectly played. Parents forever traumatized. And in a rush, we forget Endarasha. This is sad. And according to me, this was not just fire. This was planned and well executed. Why do I suspect? One, how comes the owner of that private school has not even been asked has not been asked to answer any question? Has not even been questioned by the police? I don't know whether you have seen any statement he or she has written. I don't know whether you know his or her name. Me, I don't know. How comes the morning the parents were going to that place, the school was ready with the food, very well prepared breakfast. And Russia is a remote area. To have prepared that breakfast that good, it seems that this was planned, that even a budget for that breakfast was prepared before these kids were burnt. How comes someone locked the door from outside, emergency door? How comes the government only through PR, oh, we have declared so number of mourning days, oh, we are going to come to support the families. Which support do these families want to have their family, to have their bereaved, the diseased ones back? As far as I'm concerned, some people, some politicians still believe in archaic behaviors of the past on human sacrifice. And that's what has caused this death. I want you to challenge me to the opposite. Because 71 children are still missing and no one is asking where they are. The principle of any good investigation shows assume nothing. We call ABC of investigation, assume nothing. So me, I'm assuming nothing. Everything you have said in the media, I'm not assuming them. So assume until we get evidence. Second thing, we believe nothing. So we won't believe anything. We won't believe all those stories until we go to the root cause of the matter. The third thing is C, it's called check everything. So we must check everything and turn all the stones. Leave no stone unturned until we get to the bottom of the matter. But this seems to be wished away. I saw the CS for Education just shedding tears. I saw some people saying they want now to construct a memorial school in memory of those children. But how will that help their parents? They'll remember forever when they see that memorial school, the pain they had when they lost their children. Let us not believe in archaic behaviors. Let us not be able to treat this thing as a joke. We have enough fires in this country. We have enough lessons to learn. So just auditing the school safety systems in general won't help if we don't have closure where these parents can be put to justice. And lastly, I want to say the following, that politicians are very good in making speeches. In fact, funerals have made politicians. Some of them even look forward to funerals taking place so that they can make their speeches. But let me tell you what, even in your grave, people make speeches. It won't bring you back. Unfortunately for you, you are so powerful that justice will be seen when you die. For these children, let me call upon the Almighty God to come down and console the parents. But most importantly, God is a God of justice. How God delivers his justice is different from ours. Let them punish these people who have made us lose these lovely families. Thank you. Let me tell you that Kenya is an animal farm. The animal farm where all animals are equal and some animals are more equal than others. I was at the heart of the petition against Masengeli when we went for habeas corpus case in the High Court. When Justice Mugambi sentenced Masengeli for 6 months imprisonment. Remember, he has not been arrested. Remember, he has not been served. I saw the president saying that judiciary should find a way to forgive themselves with the police service. Let me ask you, Kenyans, how many of you, when you have a case in court, has a president ever said that you should be forgiven? How many of you Kenyans have a case in court where you have been forgiven? Even traffic offense, if you are not taken to court and charged, you have to settle something with the police. If it was a normal Kenyan who was sentenced by a high court, how fast was the policeman going to rush to arrest them? Have you seen how they arrest Kenyans, even those who have done nothing, saying it's so urgent that you must be arrested and arraigned in court? So, in Kenya, is there some people above the law? Is the law meant for the poor? As they say, the might is right. In Kenya, the might is still right. In Kenya, we are still being deceived that everybody is below the law, while some people act as if they're above the law. But what will save Kenya? When you have the right person in State House, an honest person in State House, is when the Constitution will be obeyed to the latter. But for now, we just have more animals, more equal than others. And Masengeli is not a Kenyan. Masengeli is more Kenyan than you. Masengeli is not just a Kenyan, he's more Kenyan. Masengeli is not just an animal, he's more than an animal. Masengeli is not just a citizen, he's more than a citizen. And that means if Masengeli is more than a citizen, what about the president? What about the deputy president? What about the CSS? They are now even above Masengeli. And that means that just Kenyans are obeying the law. And I can tell you, in Kenya, we have two tribes now regarding Masengeli. Those who obey the law because they are poor and they are powerless, and those because of the powers we give them, they are above the law. So I'm calling upon those who are below the law to combine their power together, call people's power higher power. And people's power higher power should be able to remove those who are above the law, so that we elect somebody who will be under the law, who will follow the law. And that's the only day you'll have your rights and just. So we have looked at the Kenyan economic situation and found out that the biggest problem we have in Kenya is not that the economy is bad. The problem we have in Kenya is that we have theft. So you've had people telling you that we are, I don't know, 42 tribes, maybe 53 tribes, all those tribes. No. Kenyans are Kenyans. We are not tribes. But of course, your cultural origin is your uniqueness, and we cherish it. And don't shy away from identifying with a community where you belong. But tribe is actually negative. Your community is positive because of the cultural richness it has. You have also heard people saying we have two tribes. We have the rich and the poor. No, that's a lie. Kenyans are not poor. Why are we not poor? The first evidence is that with a budget of 4.2 trillion per year, can such a person be poor? If India's budget, if Rwanda's budget, of course the population is not very high, does not even reach 1 trillion. Tanzania's budget, which Tanzania is a bigger country, more population, their budget is around 2.9 trillion. So Kenyans cannot be poor with our population of 53 million Kenyans with a budget of 4.2 trillion. We are not poor. The other reason we are not poor is that Kenyans are highly educated. The literacy rate in Kenya is among the highest in Africa. Kenyans are very hardworking. In fact, many countries fear Kenya. Tanzania don't like Kenyans working in Tanzania, just like Uganda, because they know Kenyans, when they go there, they become very competitive. When you go to the US, you go to Europe, you go to UK, when a Kenyan goes to classroom, even with a European, Kenyans beat them. So Kenyans are not poor. Kenyans just lack what is called opportunities. Give Kenyans equal playing ground, and a Kenyan will beat you. So Kenyans are not poor. Kenyans are hardworking. Kenyans are industrious. Kenyans are extremely intelligent. Kenyans are extremely knowledgeable. Kenyans are extremely creative. And Kenyans are extremely talented. When someone is talented, is creative, is knowledgeable, is wise, is educated, is hardworking, is industrious, can that person be poor? No. So the problem we have in Kenya is one, that we have two tribes. One tribe is wale ambao wanatuibia, those politicians, those leaders, whether it's opposition or government, they are the same tribe. Those are thieves. The second tribe we have ni wale ambao wanaibiwa, those who are stolen from. They are stealing from you through sheaf. They steal from you through taxes. They steal from you through education funding model. They steal from you in the e-citizen. They steal from you everywhere in the budget. We have budgeted corruption. They steal the airport, Adani deal. They steal the energy sector. They steal everything. So if someone is stealing everything from you, you are not poor. So I'm asking Kenyans, why don't we consider 2027 to be a two-horse race? The first horse is the horse ya wale wanatuibia. Those are all politicians. They are called broad-based government, fraud-based government, bread-based government, all of them. Put them in one house. Let them not pretend we are in opposition. There is no opposition in Kenya. Those people are eating together. They live together. If you go to Karen, they are neighbors. If you go to Muthaiga, they are neighbors. If you go to Westlands, they are neighbors. So those people are one host. That host ni wale ambao wanatuibia. They are billionaires. The cabinet for William Ruto is a billionaire cabinet. Those are thieves. How can someone be worth more than 3 billion shillings? And they don't have a big company like Safaricom or if you like KCB. They are multi-millionaire cabinet. William Ruto is a trillionaire. William Ruto is worth at least more than 2.8 trillion shillings. So hiyo pesa ametoa wapi? That is a combination bigger than Safaricom, KCB and Equity Bank combined. So in Kenya we have two tribes. Wale wanatuibia na sisi ambayo tunaibiwa. So the second host should be wale ambao wanaibiwa wakue pamoja, wachukue moja yao, waungane pamoja, watoe wale ambao wanatuibia. Na nchi yetu itaenda sambamba. Na kutakuwa hakuna umaskini. There will be enough money to offer free education, free healthcare, infrastructure that is great, government services that is delivered on time, and a Kenyan that feels comfortable in their country where you want to work, you want to retire, you want to live, you want to tour, you want to visit, and everything. Kenya is a beautiful country with rich people. No one is poor, except that they are stealing from us. Thank you.